tried the cocaine, and it was like all the drugs combined with icing on and a cherry on the top. The taste of it, I was married to the pipe. It was just the most beautifulest feeling and taste and sensation you can imagine.
Marvin, where were you born?
I was born in HMP-style women's prison in Wilmslow in Cheshire. My mum was a prisoner, a teenage prisoner. My mum was undecided whether to sign me for adoption or not. So she got released from custody and was unsure whether to give me away. So then I was seen by a Welsh woman and a Jamaican man. They looked at me, seeing my big, beautiful, saucer-shaped eyes, they said, and they chose me. So my mum told me from very, very young that your mum didn't want to give you away. She wanted to keep you, but the circumstances, what was going on around her and her home life and whatnot, she couldn't keep me. She said you was born in distress as well. I never knew what that meant, so I used to think about that a lot, and then at nights I'd try to sleep, but I couldn't sleep, so I'd be banging my head off the pillow and hold my breath to try and not wake up the next morning. Because I thought, wherever that place is, that's where my mum is. So I used to try and get there by holding my breath. And my dad, he got raised very tough, so his mum and dad apparently didn't like him. They didn't let him move. He lived in it, and he had to run away from home and whatnot. So he was a very tough man. So he used to go to town on me a lot, beat me a lot with belts, bamboo canes. So my mum, obviously, my adoptive mum, she was beautiful towards me, but when my dad used to hit me, she used to say, don't hit him around the head. So that used to confuse me a bit. She wouldn't say, don't hit him. She just said, don't hit him around the head. Anyway, 11 years old, there was these blocks of flats opposite where I lived, and there was this lad who was about 16, and I got speaking to him and stuff, and I had this games console, like a computer console, and he told me he had some games for it. So we went to his house, and he said, no, I haven't got it. My mate's got it over in the other block of flats. So I went over with him, and it was some old man, like in his 50s. So I just didn't think it was right. Anyway, walked in the house, the guy just pulled me straight into the bedroom, pulled this big wooden toolbox behind it, and started just tearing at me with his tongue or licking me and stuff. So he told me clothes off and raped me anyway. So I was 11, I got raped. I went home shocked, like, couldn't speak. Next day, come home from school, he sat in my mum and dad's house. So like, I'm mortified. So he started talking to my mum and dad, saying, oh yeah, my mum thanks you very much for helping her going shot for her yesterday. Do you mind going shot for her? So I was like, wow. And my mum and dad had not said anything, just like talking to him like they know him. So I just thought, wow. So I started, this was happening for a little bit, happened for all over the summer, a couple of summers. I was getting raped till I was about summer of 2 years. I couldn't normalise it in my mind. I didn't feel normal. I felt like I was from a different universe. I didn't feel worthy of this earth because no one had ever treated me with any love and respect so far, with genuine love and affection.
What were the ways you found to cope with all of that?
I used butane gas. I started on butane gas when I was 8 years of age. I went into an empty house, and there was loads of these glue bags on the floor and a tin of glue. So I'd seen the glue bags, so I thought I'm going to try it. So I put the bag inside the glue and scraped it round and started sucking on it, and it just sent me to, like, it felt like the place where I should have been when I was born, not this place. So it was a beautiful place. It was hallucinogenic. It took me away. It was an escape. So I didn't think anything of it, but I knew it was wrong. I was very confused growing up. I was trying to find my mum. I used to run away from home a lot to try and find her. All I could think about was my mum growing up. So then the drugs were sort of taking me there to try and meet her. Like we have this invisible cord what binds us, and I could feel her pulling on it. When I was like 14, started taking LSD, started taking ecstasy, started taking amphetamine. My drug use started getting a lot worse as I was getting older. I was taking more and more drugs. So when I got to 15, I was playing up in school. I'd been expelled. I'd been sent to a school like where you need a bit of extra help for being a bit of a nuisance in the classroom. So I went there a couple of times. But by then, I was selling drugs for a girl after school. So I was doing that after school for money, to buy other drugs and experiment with other drugs. And then I was out in a club one night. We used to go to like the Hacienda and Conspiracy and all these clubs. And I was out in a club one night and I seen this girl dancing on the dance floor, and she looked really pretty and dead fun. And I started chatting to her, and she offered me to go back to her. So she lived local to me. She said to me, I'm sat in her house, she said, "You ever took cocaine?" So I said, yeah. But what I'd only did is I'd only tried it in joints in nightclubs before, because like a little spliff of coke had been passed around. So I'd never really tried it, but I was only 17 trying to show off, saying, yeah, I've tried it. And she came in with a pipe with ash on it, with a big piece of crack on it. It was white cocaine to me. So I tried the cocaine, and it was like all the drugs combined with icing on and a cherry on the top. So I quickly became addicted to crack cocaine. I don't understand how it's gripped me but so much. It was so nice. The taste of it. I was married to the pipe. It was just the most beautifulest feeling and taste and sensation you can imagine. I was stealing out the city centre, I was shoplifting, I was going in and out of prison, getting recalled, getting arrested for thefts and whatnot.
So how many times, all in all, you've been in and out of prison?
I've been to prison probably between 25 and 30 times. I used to go to prison many times for thefts, and I'd get very short sentences. But in fact, it was very good for me because I was a crack addict, I was skinny as a rake. So them little 6-week sentences used to help me put on weight, get my physical self back in order. And as soon as I'd walk into prison anyway, I'd know everybody. Everyone would be like, yes, you're back on the wing, buzzing. So I'd be selling drugs on the wing for people, selling heroin, selling anything, tablets, cannabis.
How easy is it to get drugs in prison?
Oh, it's very easy, yeah. Very easy to get drugs in prison. I was hanging around with a gang who had all the links and they were always the right plugs, and we was getting throwovers over the wall, so there was anywhere up to a kilo of cannabis resin coming over, 6 mobile phones, steroids, needles, Subutex, crack cocaine. So it does come over the wall. It was very, very easy. But a lot of people in prison spend a lot of money in prison as well. Like there's people who go to prison who have got money and they start spending. So what happens is you give them, say, a quarter of cannabis, they give you £200, but their girlfriend passes it your girlfriend on the street. So it's very easy to get in a lot of debt as well. So there've been times when I've been asked to go collecting debts in prison as well.
Like what?
Say, hot watering people and whatnot, but that didn't happen often. And also doing, like people would say they want to see blood. So if someone says they want to see blood off the hit, I knew the person who was doing the hit on, I'd say to him, look, I've got to do a hit on you, there's wages on your head. Just let me tap your eye over here like you're doing raptures with your knuckles, like that. And I'll pop your eye open. There'll be a lot of blood, it won't hurt. And sometimes I'd have to do that. It was necessary. So the kid would get out of trouble and I'd get paid the wages as well. So yeah, I did that a few times. Not very proud of them situations though.
What do you think were the worst experiences in prison?
I've watched someone's head get squashed in a door, killed. Someone owed someone a £10 canteen. So the lad punched him. As he punched him, the lad fell on the floor. And as he fell on the floor, the lad who punched him sort of said, "Get out my cell." But he fell on the floor and his head had caught between the door. And as he's pushed the door, he slammed the door and he crushed his skull on the floor. And he was dead. So when I get out of prison when I was 20, I'm just stopping people in cars, saying my mate in the park's got the best drugs and I'm getting paid for that. So that's how I'm carrying on my crack cocaine addiction. And then I've got the working girls coming to me and saying, "Marv, who's got the best crack?" But I wasn't really a drug dealer, I was just a crackhead. I was just trying to get a little bit of shekels off everyone who's selling drugs, you know. I'm trying to get customers for them and whatnot.
So how long your crack addiction lasted for?
I had a 20-year crack addiction. I fell in love with it. There was nothing like it on earth. It's the most strongest drug in the world. It's the most addictive drug on the planet for a reason. What happened when I was 33, I was still a raging crack addict. 33 years of age, New Year's Eve, I'm riding down the road, I've just come out of prison. I see this guy who I know, and this guy ponts his girls, puts them on the beat, forces them to smoke crack, forces them into prostitution. So I see him with some young girl and I say to him, "Yeah, what are you doing with her, mate? Don't you dare take her onto that beat down there." So he's gone, "Oh, no, I won't. I'm just having a drink," because it was New Year's Eve, bear in mind. So he's gone in the newsagents in the shop. So I said to the girl, "Yeah, take my number. If you need me for anything, phone me." Because he's trouble, so stay away from him. So she takes my number. Half an hour later, rings her back. I says, "You all right?" So she's crying. She said, "I can't, he's just beat me up in the gay village. You need to come and help me." So I went and rid on my little bike. So I go and get her, start talking to her, find out that she's only 18. She's having a bit of trouble at home and stuff. And she's with this guy, and this guy's much older. I said to her, "You need to get away from him. He will get you addicted to drugs and he will get you on the beat before you can even realise what's happening." So that was that, leave it. Next day, I rings her again, say, "How are you, what are you doing?" So she said, "He's beating me up, I need to get away from him. He's beat me up because I left with you last night." So I'm only staying at my niece's house. I've just come out of prison. I ain't got a secure address. I'm in a little spare bedroom. So I phone my niece up and I say, "Look, I've just met this girl and she's only young. She's not a drug addict. Do you mind if she stays in my room with me?" She went, "Don't you dare bring no scruffs here." So I said, "I won't, I promise." So anyway, brought her to the house. So she's staying at the house. I get recalled to prison. I'm wanted for a licence breach. So I get recalled to prison. While I'm in prison, she phones me up from prison and says, "He's just levered me on a bus." So I say to her, "Go to the police." So she said, "No, it's grassing." I said, "It's not grassing." So I convinced her to go to court against this man and get him 5.5 years. So we got locked up for that. So that was very empowering. And I've been with the girl ever since. And now we've been together for 15 years. So every time I'm smoking crack for hours, I can't wait for it to go so I can go back to living a normal life. Because I won't smoke crack in her house, I won't smoke crack near her. So I'm going to the house, I've got no crack. I'm waking up the next morning, all I can think about is crack, so I'm running away. I'm running all the time. And she's following me to crack houses saying, "You've got to stop. You've got to stop doing this. Like, you're not happy." And I knew I wasn't happy. But I was working with an adoption agency because I was adopted. And they wouldn't open my adoption file for me. She kept saying to me, "When you get off drugs, we will help you, we will go to the next step." So I wanted to get clean so I could find my birth family. When I was clean, my adoption agency worker said, right, you're ready to open your adoption file. So I went away so happy thinking, yes, I'm gonna find my mum finally at last. 2 weeks later, she phones me up. I walk in, she gives me my mum's death certificate. She says, I'm so sorry, I couldn't tell you before. So they said to me, we've got the best news in the world. Your mum's gone, but we have found your birth mum's family. So I said, all right then. So they said, we're going to have to send all your previous convictions to them, and then they've got to decide whether they want to get to know me or not. So I wait. So I'm dead nervous thinking that they're going to want to know me or not. And my auntie contacts me. My auntie contacts them and says, yeah, I want a relationship with him. So what had happened was, when my mum gave me away, how my auntie found out about me was, she started seeing a lad called Marvin, and my mum found out. Now my mum called me Marvin at birth, so my adoptive mum never changed it out of respect for her. She put Lee at the front, but she never called me Lee, she always called me Marvin. And that's how they found out, yeah. I have just had the most amazing time. Like, they've been beautiful towards me, really nice people, Greek Cypriot, very family orientated, loving family, very tight knit.
Looking back at your life and everything you've been through, if you could change one thing, what would you change?
My mum signing that certificate to give me away. Yeah, that was it. I would rather sat with my mum than whatever happened to me. Because whatever happened to my mum is a sad tale. But my life was, I needed her. I needed my mum. I went searching for her all my life. I just couldn't find her. I tried so hard. And I wanted to find her when I was on drugs, but I felt I didn't deserve to look for her while I was a drug addict, you know what I mean? I didn't feel like she'd want to know me or anything like that, so I decided I wouldn't try and find her while I was on drugs. But the minute I got off drugs, I was ready. I was ready to do this. I missed out on living a normal life. I wasn't a normal member of society when I was stealing and committing crime. I used to go into the city centre and I wouldn't walk down the main thoroughfare. I'd be walking down every little back street and entry possible because I never felt worthy to be a member of like humanity. I'd never felt that it'd ever give me anything good. It treated me really bad. So I never felt like I was part of it. I always felt like I was a different part of it. I'm at peace. I've just had a baby. My girlfriend had a baby, 2 years old he is now. Happier than I've ever been in my life.
And as they were walking around me, one of them would punch me, headbutt me. As this was going on, the guy was looking down at me, asking me questions, and I became convinced that I wasn't going to leave there in one piece.